Welcome to we'll start that again. Frog in my throat. Save that for the bloopers. Both shirts you can buy at my 80s wrestling store. 3, 2. Welcome to the Week in Wrestling. I am Jack Milner. I'm joined once again by Lissy Almeida, who is much more learned and knowledgeable on all things that have transpired in the week. Lissy, it was you who brought the news to me, first of all, and I'd said big news. Cesaro has left the WWE after, I think, 10 years, maybe longer, 12 years. I think he was with Claudio Castagnoli in Ring of Honor, got a developmental contract. How surprised are you that he's gone? We've seen a lot of releases the past year, 18 months. How surprised are you that Cesaro has left? Really?
Actually, I'm happy for him and I'm excited because I think I say this all the time. If you are not happy and you're not being utilized, then you can find somewhere else to go. And I loved him so much in ROH as Claudio Castagnoli. I used to go watch him with the chair, bring the chair out to the ring and like put it in the middle of the ring, step on it. Like that's just so cool. I miss that version of him because he's so contained in WWE. So I would love to see him revert a little bit back to his ROH roots, maybe bring that character back. But I'm not surprised at all. I think, if he's been unhappy, I want him to go somewhere and find his happiness and be able to wrestle.
He joined in September 2011 after signing a contract and going to Florida Championship Wrestling, but you think of somebody who's got tenure, versatility, can work with anyone on the roster. He had a great series with Roman, I think, last year, right, when he was kind of proved himself if he could be a main event. He had a good series with Danielson. His kind of reputation speaks volumes. Do you think, we've just seen, apologies for any spoilers, Buddy Murphy's just turned up as Buddy Matthews. Buddy Matthews this week in AEW. They can't get another one in there, surely. We had Keith Lee 2 weeks ago. Jay White debuted 2 weeks ago. The Briscoes reportedly coming in. How big are those pockets?
What are you talking about? TK's pockets are very deep. Okay,
his dad's
Daddy's pockets are very deep. We talk about this extensively, and I think we're so afraid. Not afraid, we're scared to kind of see where it's going to go because we want to keep the product fresh as fans, right? I think when we talked about this, was it in September or October? I don't remember after which big signing. I was like, is this close to being WWE Junior?
WWE Light.
We're even closer today. So sorry. I'm not, I don't know. I think, I hope this is it because I'd love to see Jeff Hardy there. I love Jeff Hardy, been a fan of, we grew up doing flips and dives off of every piece of furniture in the house. Would love to see him there, but just, that's it. Like, this is it, guys. Let's use the people we have. And I want to keep seeing like homegrown people getting a shot and being able to be brought to the front and build too. So I think we can create that balance, hopefully.
So do you give any chance he may go to Impact? I know you've been and seen a few shows there in the last couple of months. Do you think he might fit that type of vibe, or do you see him going elsewhere? Could he perhaps go to New Japan? Where do you think the Swiss cyborg will end up?
I would love to see him in Japan. I think his style of wrestling would be greatly appreciated there. I do think, and he's still relatively young, and I think he can go into that third chapter of his career with the right push. Impact is obviously very near and dear to my heart. I used to love it when it was TNA. I think, the product has changed a lot and it's kind of gone back to that indie feel. So I think he could be successful anywhere he goes. I'm not saying I don't want to see him in AEW either. I'm not saying that, but there's just so many so many talented guys already there. I would hate to see him get lost in the fold in a second big company.
It's a very strange just period for the business at all. Mention that Impact. We're finally catching up with the TV tapings you went to. I want to say 6 weeks ago.
No, it wasn't that long ago, was it?
I think it was
Maybe
4 or 5 weeks ago.
I think it's a little over a month ago, probably.
What do you make of Impact? Because we've not really spoke in depth in terms of. I think we mentioned it a couple of weeks ago on one of the Monday Night Wars review when we were having a look at. Was it actually? It's this day from 1997, right? We watched the Raw back, which was all over the place. But you've not gone into in depth what you make of Impact, what you make of the product. How big a fan are you of them, or what do you make of the overall layout and the landscape?
I think the best thing going today in Impact is Honor No More. Them bringing the former Ring of Honor talent in. I think it's exciting. I love Ring of Honor, and I want to see some type of legacy continue for them. So they have a couple stables going on, like Honor No More versus the kind of like original Impact guys, which is cool. Their women's division is extremely talented and stacked. I would even say that it's better than AEW's women's division. But it's, like I said, I think that they went in one direction, and then it's no secret the company did fall off for a few years, and I see them back on the mend and building back up. So I'm hopeful that they can get to a level where they can compete talent-wise and venue-wise also with an AEW. So that I love having a few different companies to watch. Honestly, it's great.
Were you an Impact fan? Did you used to watch Impact back in the day?
Oh yeah, I used to love it. I used to watch it. So I watched it before the Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff invasion.
I'm going to say something. We used to get it on Bravo. We get an hour, 10 o'clock on a Saturday. Kids have no idea how difficult to watch.
No idea.
Bravo, a random cable channel. We used to have ECW in the 90s.
First of all, the Real Housewives of everything plays on Bravo here. Just so you can understand what sort of channel that is. But yeah, that's that hard cut for me in the life of the company, right? It was great. I remember one day I'm literally just flipping through the channels. This was around that same time that I really just started watching wrestling. Again, when I think it was probably a year or so into me starting to watch wrestling again when I was about 16 years old. And I was like, that's Jeff Hardy. And I was so excited because again, love Jeff Hardy. And I was like, oh my God, this is great. Jeff Jarrett's there. And that's when I first discovered Gail Kim, and I love and respect her and everything she's done for, women's wrestling, and just a lot of other, I got to know their homegrown talent, and it wasn't hard to watch because it was entertaining, but it was also good wrestling. Didn't necessarily love the 6-sided ring. I could do without it. And I'm glad that they did away with it. But it was fresh, it was new. And that was a time too when only WWE was a larger wrestling company. So it was WWE or nothing. And then being able to have a secondary channel to watch was great. And I remember my grandfather, I put him on to Impact, and he was so excited. He's like, oh, new wrestling, different wrestling. I love it. And it was just it was nice to just be able to see that it was appealing to every wrestling fan. So I'd love to see them get back there, no matter what it takes, by any means.
If people, by the way, haven't seen it, go and watch the series between Gail Kim and Awesome Kong from, I think it was 2007, where they had a great series of matches. I think one of them main evented Impact is a record rating at the time. I think about 1.5, maybe 2 million homes. But they had a great series of matches. There's a massive Falls Count Anywhere match, and Gail Kim sounds like a champ and bumps around for Awesome Kong. It looks like a complete beast. But yeah, Impact in 2006 when Kurt came in, Joe was the guy. They had AJ, Chris Daniels. They brought Christian in. And then I stopped watching by 2008. They brought in the likes of Kevin Nash, a few other older guys. But then when they brought Hogan and Bischoff, this ain't TNA anymore. They said, this is now WWE Junior.
Yeah.
And they brought, I love the Nate more than anyone. His run in TNA was awful. Apart from him and Jay Lethal wooing at each other.
Well, no, that was actually one of the funniest moments in wrestling. But aside from that, I truly wish, and maybe he feels this way, I've kind of heard a couple different interviews from him on it. He should have went on top with his match with Sean, and just that would have just cemented it. And I think it took away from his legacy, the matches and the time that he spent in Impact. And again, it doesn't mean you need to leave wrestling, but you can contribute in different ways without necessarily being in the ring. Like, he's hilarious. He's great to see as like when he was Charlotte's manager and just, being able to like work the corner and stuff like that. Like, we can work with that. But I think pushed a little bit too long.
So for some people, they always think they've got that one last run, don't they?
As they say, you got to know when to hold them.
We got to know when to fold them, yeah. And good part about Lissy there about the current product of Impact. The only thing I would really watch is the women's department. I was going to call them the Iconics. What's the name of the Iconics? The new name.
The Inspiration,
yeah. But Jordan Grace and Deonna Purrazzo and Mickie James are three all-timers already. And it was well worth checking out their Knockouts division. Listen, I'm guessing you watched Raw on Monday?
This week, I actually didn't.
You didn't? There's a bumper rating. We've seen Cowboy Brock. You were one of the minority that actually watched Elimination Chamber at the weekend. What did you make of Brock becoming WWE champion again and presumably setting up a title match at WrestleMania?
It was in the die was cast when he won. You like that? So I've been rewatching Downton Abbey, and Mr. Carson said that on an episode that I watched last week, and I've been waiting for a time to use it. So thank you for that. It was, though, when he won the Rumble, you were like, that's it.
The thing is, I called it before, which I was quite pleased about.
Isn't it nice to be right? I mean, again, not surprised. I'm sad for Bobby. I wanted, and I know he has some, injury related things that he needs to sort out also, but just, you put the belt back on him just to take it off of him right before WrestleMania. It sucks as a person who's a fan of Bobby Lashley. I'm a fan of Brock. I love Brock, but we didn't necessarily need to see Brock with a belt for him to wrestle Roman. So it is what it is.
He's a strange one because he's over enough. He's an attraction. He doesn't need, which is
he's
what
an attraction.
He's an attraction. You look at Taker in the 90s, didn't need the belt.
Didn't need the belt.
He was good enough as it is. Interesting to see where they go with that in terms of, again, WrestleMania is just 5 weeks away. They've got a lot of legwork to do. They've got a lot of polishing of Ronda to get her anywhere near the level of Becky and Charlotte from a not necessarily in-ring standpoint. Well, that too, but the girl's got to learn to talk.
Few things.
Rebecca.
Okay, so a few things with Ronda. Remember when Brock was a killing machine? Guess what? He didn't need to talk. Ronda, just make her a mega monster heel.
Needs a manager.
Give her a manager. She doesn't need to talk, and just have her go in and dominate if that's how you want to, book it. Watching SmackDown last week, they had their contract signing last week. It's like just sign the papers and let's go, guys. I can't watch this anymore. I would like to see her like that. Or my other idea for her, which I think it would be wildly popular, is again, if her and Shayna Baszler, already friends, already have their, MMA, UFC background, just make them a pair, like tag team them together and just have them go for the tag belts, and they can, again, be monsters and killing machines, and they don't have to say too much. They just go in and wreck people.
Would that not be a bit like, isn't that what Bryan Danielson's doing in AEW right now? Assembling a team of just badass, legit.
Do it. I love it.
Well, listen, for people out there who are watching, all 9 of you, I haven't watched Dynamite this week. Can you give us a 1 minute?
All 9 of you.
Thank you very much, Charles. Lissy's friends and family. Can you give us a brief synopsis of what happened? Don't worry about the spoilers. I'll be watching it. I'm pretty sure, from what I have read between the lines, of great promo by Hangman. There's teasers for Jeff Hardy. We saw Buddy Matthews join the House of Black, and MJF for one of the greatest promos of all time.
Yeah.
Anything I missed out?
Jade?
Do you want to elaborate on that? Or?
So let's go back. I think the 2 things that stood out for me on yesterday's episode, excuse me, MJF is just a genius, honestly.
Thoroughbred.
He really is. Like, when we talk about people that don't even need the freaking belt, like I mean, first person on my mind is him, just because he's just so good. And like, I love this rivalry with Punk. Like, Punk comes out to the ring after his very, very touching, promo, and it kind of, anybody could relate to that. Honestly, anybody who's been bullied, anybody who hasn't been accepted, anybody who's been, discriminated against for any reason, because his story was really broad, can relate to that. And like, for the first time, I think even Tony Schiavone, who we know hates him, like with a burning passion.
The way Tony says Andrew's better, everything's a prick. Oh God, yes. I hate that kid.
And that stood out to me, because even Tony was like, he took a step back and he acknowledged, that he felt bad for him, and like, wow, like MJF's a human being and with feelings and stuff. So it was really, it was captivating.
You do realize this will set up a massive swerve next week?
Yes.
Again, I've watched far too much wrestling. What would you call it? Episodic television. So they set you up for this, and then the go home show 4 days before the pay-per-view, they're going to beat the shit out of Punk and leave him hanging. So you will want to see the good babyface get his revenge on pay-per-view.
Let's see it. No, it's great build-up. I really appreciate it. Because there's not enough of that going around these days. And then Jade Cargill is cementing her legacy as a, just a badass, undefeated superstar. She like cut a little promo at the end, and took the mic from Tony Schiavone. She's like, "Cut the shit, Tony," and I loved it. And she's like, I'm 27-0. I'm on my way to being 30-0, 40-0, 50-0. And like, in a better way than Goldberg was. And obviously, when you think of undefeated streaks in recent memory, you think about Goldberg. You have to, right? I think the difference is people probably want to see Jade. Not that I think in the beginning we wanted to see Goldberg, and then towards the end we were like, all right, let's move on. And then it looks like her next opponent is going to be Ty Conti. So she'll have her for breakfast, and then we'll move on.
I think you'll find Sammy will have her for breakfast, and then she'll move on. And it'll be live on his log. That's a different story. I will say this, Jade is incorporated very well. People like us, people at other channels, calling her green. So what has she done? She's changed all her gear into green, because green is money, and I am all green. Very clever.
Say nothing. I love that. And she is, but it's good.
Never explain, never complain.
Right, exactly. And she is green, and you can see that she's green, but you can appreciate the progress that she's made. And I don't necessarily, I think that I saw today that, I forget where, that Tony Khan's asked Daniel Bryan Bryan Danielson to train with her. And I think, just being able to get that part of things down packed, I think by the end of this year, we're going to see a whole different Jade, and I'm excited for it.
And I think you'll see a whole different roster as well. If you think Bryan Danielson and CM Punk were both former head trainers of the Ring of Honor Wrestling School. Punk in 2004 was replaced by Austin Aries. that was then replaced by Danielson in 05 or 06. I mean, you think of the likes of Dean Malenko, they've got Serena Deeb, who's does a lot of training behind the scenes. They have got some good mentors, some good coaches to help some very inexperienced and very, you said very shy in terms of weekly episodic television. You've got to get your timings, you've got to get the cues, cameras. It's a big learning process still for a company that's only been on TV for what, 2.5 years?
Mm-hmm.
And I know they are, you call them WWE Junior with their hirings and acquisitions, but a lot of those guys, Sammy, Darby, Jungle Boy, the Bucks, haven't done live TV very often, so it's still very much a learning curve. Just finish off, Lisa, is there anything you're looking forward to in the next week or so? I think we'll be doing the live stream for Revolution next Sunday with JJ, but in between that, we've got SmackDown, we've got another Raw, we've got the Go Home show for Dynamite. Anything you're looking forward to?
I'd love to see more Hook. So I think he's wrestling Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
Hook.
I love him. He's so cute. Send him.
And there'll be a lot of teenage girls.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
I would love a bit of Hook, yeah.
It's probably such a heartthrob already. I need to do some polls. No, I mean, we're ramping up for the big one next weekend. So, the Go Home show is always eventful. So let's see how we do.
Let's see how we do. Will you be attending any live shows next week, or are you having a rare week off?
I'm having a rare week off. There's some live events this weekend that I was hoping to go to, but some different opportunities have arisen, which I think I'm going to put wrestling second and put my personal life first and have a little bit of fun.
Personal life? What's that?
No, right? I know. So it'll be a low-key weekend for Lissy, wrestling-wise.
And when she means low-key, she's not talking about low-key. Wait, I'm going to go for tangent. Did they not turn, again, we need to watch some NXT with JJ. Didn't they turn low-key into like a complete shagger with like a girl on each arm? Did I remember seeing that?
He came in as Caval.
Caval. My name's Caval.
Yeah, so I don't think that helped. And that's the thing too, it drives you crazy because like, it's kind of insulting to the IQ of the wrestling fan because you have somebody like a Bryan Danielson come in and you want us to think that this guy just walked in off the street. Like, I know who he is. Like, he's probably more senior than half of your roster.
To that point, Lissy, when Buddy Murphy debuted last night, they never said his name properly, but the crowd shouted, Buddy. And JR going, if that's who we think he is, that's Buddy. Is that Buddy Matthews? But you don't, again, you've got to go with the crowd. You don't want to sound like you don't know. But if Michael Cole would go, who is that? Is that who?
Speaking of this, I freaking loved that. I wasn't like too big on Buddy when he was in WWE. I think, again, someone very talented just kind of got lost in the shuffle. It is what it is, right? House of Black, I absolutely love. They get a little creepy sometimes, but I love them. And just him coming in and like just having that moment where you don't know whose side he's on. I don't know. It's so exciting. And then he turns on Penta, and then he sides with House of Black, and it was just like, yes, it's happening. So I am excited for like stables like that, because I think it's also important for us to not only associate, myself included, certain people with WWE, because obviously that was like a time and place in their career, but they had a career outside of there. So like, Buddy Matthews, I'm going to have to like really work on not saying that. So Buddy Matthews coming to AEW, it's exciting, and him joining House of Black. I think my problem is I don't want to see anybody else come in and join the Elite or the Young Bucks or Red Dragon or whatever big stable that they've created. I think I've had enough of that.
I think we'll see Kenny come back, and I think you'll see the Bucks form an allegiance with Hangman, and it'll be Cole and Red Dragon against the Bucks and Paige, and then Kenny comes back and like what guys? What have I missed?
Oh, you've called it. It's in the tea leaves now.
send it to you if that's how we go on. Lacey, it's been a pleasure as always. We'll be back. We'll probably grab JJ for us next week, babysitting permitting, for the Week in Wrestling next week. But until then, she's been Lissy Almeida. I've been Jack Milner, and we'll see you soon. Ta-ra!
Bye.
Wait, I know the wrong button there.